Hello students, welcome again to the class of English literature. Today we are going to discuss the very famous comedy As You Like It, written by Elizabethan dramatist William Shakespeare. We have discussed its last three acts in last few videos. So in this video we are going to start act number fourth with the very first scene. Act fourth, scene first. Jax approaches Rosalind. We all know who is Jax and who is Rosalind. Okay, who is still in her disguise as Ganymede. Rosalind is still in disguise as Ganymede, as a shepherd, and she is now in forest of Arden that we have already discussed in our last few videos. So if you are not aware of or you are not acquainted with the last story, please go and search for its last videos. Then you will be able to understand its full story. Wishing to become better acquainted, why did Jax come here? Because he wanted to be more acquainted with Rosalind, who is disguised as a man, as a shepherd named Ganymede. Rosalind criticizes Jax for the extremity of his melancholy. Jax always remains melancholic. He always talks about the sad things or the adversity of the nature. So Rosalind criticizes him. When Jax claims that it is good to be sad and say nothing. Okay, Rosalind compares such activity to being a post. Post means here khamba. Jax defends himself, outlining for Rosalind the unique composition of his sadness, but Rosalind gets the better of him and he departs. Then what happens? Orlando arrives an hour late for his lesson in love. As agreed, he addresses Ganymede as if the young man were his beloved Rosalind. Here I want to mention that Rosalind, who is in love with Orlando, and Orlando also is in love with Rosalind, but in the forest of Arden, because in the forest of Arden, Rosalind is disguised as a shepherd and she has taken a name Ganymede. Ganymede, as if a young man were his beloved Rosalind, and asks her to forgive his tardiness. Tardiness means his lateness. Rosalind refuses, insist means जिद करना, that a true lover could not bear to squander a part of the 1,000th part of a minute in the affairs of love. She goes on to suggest that Orlando's love is worse than a snail's. For though a snail comes slowly, he carries his house on his back. Snail, you all know, snail हिंदी में हम उसे घोंगा कह सकते हैं, जो कि बहुत धीमे से चलता है और अपनी बैक पर, अपनी पीठ पर एक शंख लेकर चलता है. उस शंख में ही वह रहता है. आप लोगों ने देखा होगा. He carries his house on his back. Eventually, though, Rosalind relents and invites Orlando to woo her. The lesson begins when he says that he desires to kiss her before speaking. She suggests that he save his kiss for the moment when conversation lags. Lag means pichadna. What Orlando worries should he do if his kiss is denied? Orlando reassures him with a denied kiss would only give him new matter to discuss with her lover. When Rosalind refuses his affections, Orlando claims he will die. She responds that despite the poet's romantic imagination, no man in the entire history of the world has died from a love related cause. Rosalind then changes her mood, assuming a more coming on disposition. She accepts and returns Orlando's declarations of love and urges Celia to play the part of a priest and marry them. Rosalind reminds Orlando that women often become disagreeable after marriage. But Orlando does not believe this truism of his love. He begs leave in order to dine with Duke Senior, promising to return within 2 hours. Rosalind teasingly chastises him for parting with her, but warns him not to be a minute late in keeping his promise. After Orlando departs, Celia berates Rosalind. Berate means डांटना is called करना for so badly characterizing the female sex. Rosalind responds by exclaiming how vast her love for Orlando has grown. Only Cupid, the god of love, she says, can fathom the depth of her affection. Now we are in scene second. Again, Jax, the melancholic fellow, and some of Duke Senior's loyal followers kill a deer and decide to present it to the Duke. They plan to set the animal's horns upon the hunter's head as a crown of victory. Jax asks the men to sing a song that fits the occasion. They launch into a tune about cuckoldry. Cuckoldry means vyabhichar, to have sexual affairs with more than one people, more than one man, which is symbolized by a man with horns on his head. The song proclaims that cuckoldry is timeless and borne by all men, and thus it is not something of which to be ashamed. Now, scene number third. Rosalind and Celia, still in disguise, briefly discuss Orlando's tardiness. 2 hours have passed and he has not returned, as promised to resume his love lessons. Silvius interrupts in order to deliver a letter to Ganymede. This letter is from Phoebe, and after he turns it over, Silvius wants the disguised Rosalind that its tone is harsh. Phoebe, he admits, looked very angry when she penned it, means when she wrote it. Rosalind scans the letter and reports that Phoebe judges Ganymede to be a young man without looks or manners. She then accuses Silvius of writing the letter himself, which he vehemently means जबरदस्त तरीके से deny करता है, denies. Orlando asserts that no woman could have written such a rude and defiant letter. To prove herself, she reads the letter aloud. But it turns out to be full of unabashedly romantic declarations, comparing Ganymede to a god who has destroyed Phoebe's heart. Baffled, Sylvius asks if this language is what Ganymede calls chiding. Celia offers her pity to the shepherd, but Rosalind says he deserves none for loving such a woman as Phoebe. She sends Sylvius back to Phoebe with the message that Ganymede will never love Phoebe unless Phoebe loves Sylvius. As Sylvius leaves, Oliver enters. Oliver, the eldest brother of Orlando. He asks for directions to Ganymede and Elena's cottage. Then, looking over the pair, who are still in disguise, he asks if they are the brother and sister who own that property. When they admit that they are, Oliver remarks that his brother Orlando's description of the pair was very accurate. To Ganymede, Oliver delivers a bloody handkerchief on Orlando's behalf. Rosalind asks what has happened. Oliver tells a lengthy story. Soon after leaving Ganymede, Orlando stumbled upon a ragged man asleep in the forest. Stumbled means टकराना, टकरा कर गिर पड़ना. Ragged means फटे पुराने कपड़ों में फटे कपड़े पहने हुआ व्यक्ति, who was sleeping in the forest, who was being preyed upon by a green and glided snake. Orlando succeeded in scaring the snake away, only to see a hungry lioness emerge from the underbush. Orlando approached the ragged man and recognized him as his brother. Orlando's first impulse was to let Oliver, who treated him so abominably, perish in the lion's jaws, but his nobler nature would not allow it. He fought off the lion, wounding his shoulder but ultimately saving Oliver's life. Orlando's kind and selfless gesture have transformed Oliver into a new man. And the elder brother confesses that he is ashamed of his former self. He continues saying that he and Orlando made amends and went to see the Duke. There, Orlando fainted, having lost a great deal of blood in his fight with the lioness. Before passing out completely, he charged Oliver to deliver an apology to Ganymede in the form of blood-stained handkerchief. Blood-stained means blood से सना हुआ. Upon hearing this story, Rosalind faints dead away. Faint means बेहोश होना. Celia and Oliver help her recover, and Oliver remarks that young Ganymede lacks a man's heart. Rosalind begs Oliver to impress upon Orlando how well she counterfeited. Counterfeit means जालसाजी करना. A suitable reaction to his injury in accordance with their lesson, because according to lesson she was her Orlando's beloved. So on hearing Orlando's injury, she should be very sad, so she got fainted. Oliver protests that her reaction must be genuine, for her face is flushed. Rosalind, however, assures him that she was merely playing a part. Okay, this was the summary of act number 4th. So this is all for today. Now in the next video we are going to study its last act, act number 5th. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.